My father told me that life is like a wave in the ocean. First, you find yourself high on its crest, and then inevitably break down into the abyss. From the very beginning, no one believed in us. People said it was a waste of time and effort. We were refused help, simply believed to be crazy. But at this moment, it is important to find something that will help you rise again. Have you ever heard of Bonneville? Or the races on the dried-out salt lake in the northwest of Utah in the United States? Just imagine hundreds of square kilometers of perfectly smooth, solid salt surface where the wheels don't get stuck as in sand. The track which allows racers to develop incredible speed. But first things first. Mom always wanted me to become a doctor. Look at me. No big doctor, right? I would hardly be able to cure anybody. I grew up in a small town outside of Moscow, and instead of going to college after high school, like all normal people do, my brother and I stuck in a workshop. I tuned cars for drag racing, drift and circuit racing. When the Fine Custom Mechanics owner, Sergei Maltsev, invited me to join the team, I started building motorcycles knowing basically nothing about them. But one day, we decided to do something that nobody has ever done in the history of the Russian motor racing. At this very steel plant, more than 60 years ago, those same blocks of metal came off the production line. Later, the legendary engines for the Soviet M72 motorcycles were made from them. One of these engines became the heart of our BONNY. The team decided to build the main parts of the motorcycle from hard and at the same time lightweight materials, titanium and aluminium. However, finding even a small amount of them in Moscow turned out to be a problem. As a result of a long search, the supply company was found and the metal was to be delivered, but the people just vanished with all the money. We realized the making of BONNY would not be the easiest thing to do, but it didn't stop us. We decided to go to America to take part in the race and set the world speed record in the retro category. It includes engines produced before 1956 with original crankcase and cylinders. We decided to make an aerodynamic kit, or cowl, from an aluminium sheet. It is soft and can be processed with simple tools. With such a cowl, BONNY would remind a motorcycle of the 60s. Generally, the maximum speed of a motorcycle depends on the cowl. So for its production, we used the English wheel. This machine not only smoothes out all the bumps and removes dents from hammering, but also polishes the metal surface. The main thing is to pick the right anvil wheel. By the way, it has been used in Europe throughout the last century. That's the other side of the scientific progress. More than 100 years have passed, but the English wheel is still in use today. Go tell a foreign mechanic that you are building a motorcycle from titanium. He won't believe you. This metal costs a fortune abroad, but there's a lot of it here in Russia, and it is relatively cheap. When we decided BONNY would be made of titanium, we missed one thing. There may be piles of titanium in Moscow, but it's not the alloy we needed. and the one that we had turned out to be too difficult to work with. According to the technical regulations of the race, the exhaust should not be directed neither to the ground nor at the rider. We would simply not be admitted, so we had to make the pipes longer and parallel to the ground. We missed one more thing. Titanium parts are difficult to weld. Such works are carried out in special chambers. Therefore, we decided to use more reliable bolt connections where possible. However, as it turned out, the carter and the bushings could not be modified without welding, so we had to use the argon welding for fixing exhaust system mounts. No, this is not how we fancied it. But we are a team, which means we can endure everything together. And if it takes breaking a couple of engines, we're in for it. I wanted to build a motorcycle that would fight, but it was not so simple. You want to win a prize for the fastest engine in the world? Then be so kind as to respect the technical regulations of the race. Most of the motorcycle frames at Bonneville are welded, while in BONNY there are almost no welded parts, just the steering head. Everything else is either bolted or riveting joints. Brakes and rear suspension are from bicycles, although why would they care what brakes BONNY has? We're not going there to brake, but rather rush headlong at a crazy speed. It's great when there is a man who makes right picks for the team. Thanks to Sergey, I met Leo. He's our engineer. He's got encyclopedic knowledge of mechanics, and he told me a bunch of useful information. It was Leo who showed what books on mechanics I need to know. Not just read and forget, but to know. Communication with Leo in the process of working on BONNY is kind of the quickest and most useful university course in the world. When I graduated from high school, my parents sent me to college to study law. Oh, I loved the lectures on law. You could easily read books on Soviet automechanics there. Back then, I wanted to build my own motorcycle, ride to the door of the university and catwalk. I have been working at the Fine Custom Mechanics workshop for almost 8 years. I have built many custom bikes in my life. But just with BONNY, I feel that destiny has given me a chance to make my childhood dream come true and build the fastest motorbike in the world. When you build a motorcycle, there's no need to invent something much fancy. You just need to make the bike the way you want it. BONNY has pretty simple and clear lines. Okay, I showed off with the nuts. I used 220 12-point handmade titanium nuts. These are the special racing nuts which can stand greater torque. Rolls-Royce uses them too. I also decided to expose spring mechanisms and valves. Everything is open and runs dry. I cannot say it is practical and durable, but it looks cool. If BONNY is the first Russian motorcycle going to the Bonneville Speed Week, it is logical that would take the domestic M72 engine as a basis. I know what you're thinking about. Yes, BONNY could not boast cosmic speeds, so we needed a strategy. Unlike racing a quarter mile where you need a good moment of force and a lightweight motorcycle, in our class the most important thing is power with minimal friction losses and air resistance. I tried to pick the best transmission that would extract enough power from the engine and be able to go at high speeds. BONNY had 6-speed Harley-Davidson transmission, and we calculated that in the 6th gear at 7,000 revolutions per minute, the bike should go at 240 km per hour. Working with Misha, I realized that the young student inside of me, who once dropped out from the university and preferred motorcycles to law, was celebrating. I want BONNY to hit a 200 km per hour mark, and for that I need about 50 horsepower. But our engine only makes 22, so I have installed a nitrous oxide system. This will allow the bike to reach the speed we need and won't take much engine rebuilding, as opposed to the installation of a turbine. Honestly, it's difficult to say how to adjust the nitrous oxide fuel ratio. There's not enough time for testing, but this volume should be enough for a mile. I just hope the motor will not seize, otherwise the rear wheel will be locked and I will crash on the track. That's the best option. I don't even want to talk about the worst. No, it doesn't work. I mean, it works, but there is not enough power. It is necessary to find a more powerful pair of jets. I feel like a doctor during surgery. My mom would be proud of me. A flathead engine had a major problem, a wrong combustion chamber that provides for a small degree of compression. When you start to increase the compression ratio, reducing combustion chamber, the detonating gasoline begins to destroy the engine. We needed to find a fuel that would raise the compression ratio and allow to become competitive against the 500cc overhead valve engines. And then we thought of using poisonous methanol. If it spilled on your hands, your skin would peel off. If you inhaled its fumes, you would start feeling dizzy, and it was hazardous for the eyes, but we did not care about it. The main thing was that methanol had high detonation resistance. It is not completely combusted in the engine, so some part of the methanol cooled the engine and prevented it from overheating. It allowed to raise the compression ratio, so we were able to increase the power level, making BONNY go as fast as 216 km per hour. Now, it was ready to go to the Lake of Speed. Well, welcome to Bonneville. Just a year of sleepless nights with drawings, tests, eyes corroded by methanol, and the Speed Week is at your service. Easy as pie.
It has just a few welded parts. Is it entirely made of titanium? Okay.
The driver told me he'd forgotten his driver's license at the hotel.
I'll bet he doesn't have one at all.
Battery up front, behind the it's fantastic.
Let's check the clutch, start the engine, and do an emergency stop.
Case officer.
Nah.
The universal language right there.
Booba.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Okay, I'm holding it.
Yeah, everything's fine.
We're done.
Good?
Good.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
First thing, 3 weeks ago, we lost one of the legends of our sport. And more than that, we lost a good friend. Sam Wheeler paid the ultimate price while doing what he loved to do, riding his streamlined motorcycle. So at this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Sam and for all the other racers we've lost since we were last here.
Let's pray. With a heavy heart to start this weekend, but Father, we ask that you bless this weekend. This week, your hand be upon it. All the SCTA workers that have put in hours and hours, volunteering their time to get this salt ready. We thank them and praise them for what they've done. Father, we ask that your hand be upon this event. Every driver, every crew member, every official, every spectator.
Only other thing I can say is drive fast, drive safe.
Yep, okay. Alright, this looks okay. Check. Alright, listen up. There's no need to go fast right now. I want you to just drive for a bit. If your Apollo Soyuz won't fall apart, then I'm going to let you race. Understand? Okay.
Bonnie didn't fall apart, but during the test, I was really scared. The record in this category at that time was 185 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow, I will have to exceed that level by 5% and go at 210. No more trial runs. All is real. Only faith of your team, Bonnie, and the raceway. When you come to the Bonneville Speed Week, you have an unlimited number of attempts. You are free to drive all week trying to set the best time. After the first ride, I saw Misha lighting with pleasure. Yes, the first time we did not set a record, but suddenly realized, over the last 4 months, our lives dramatically spun around this now so dear Russian motorcycle, which was destined to go down in the history of racing of the United States of America.
Okay, next up on the short course, we have Team 177 who came all the way from Russia to compete with Michael Anatov as the rider, and on a Russian-made Ural motorcycle. We think that might be the first one we've ever had here. He gets past the 1 mile part marker, and something happened. He had to pull over to the right, some sort of mechanical failure. He'll have to have his truck come to pick him up.
Cylinder erosion began due to high temperature of detonation. The engine had a soft point in the place where the bolt secured the cylinder head, and that's where the flaw appeared. Later there was a burnout, which was why the gasket was squeezed out, the cylinder head was damaged, and one of the bolts melted and deformed. We lost a lot of engine power, for which we had fought so hard. Mending a broken motorcycle in a foreign country, in the desert at 40-degree heat, was impossible. We failed to set a record, and were completely exhausted because of the burning sun at the bottom of the vast dry lake, full of goddamn salt. Our team and Bonnie were defeated. However, it was a useful experience that we'd analyze for a long time, scrutinizing every moment on our way home. There is no politics, religion or nationality in the motorcycle fraternity. These are the people who are ready to help at any time. We began to search for a solution and ask for advice from like-minded people. Sean found Niall, a welder who would repair the flaw, and used all his body language skill to explain to us how the reparation was going to be done. Perhaps welding is not the best way of repairing cracks in the cylinder, but we had no other choice. We went to Sean's workshop to finish the job. We didn't have much time. If we get back to the lake next morning, Bonnie will have a chance to set the record. wanted to build a bike that would fight.
They just passed the 1 mile mark, so great now. Still gaining speed, going very fast. I think they've got a qualifying run there. They may have broke the record.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Mish? Well, at least we did something. At least we're alive, guys. And we've been fighting till the end. It's a good lesson for us. Hey, look at this hole. The cylinder head has been burnt out like with a space blaster. We're cool anyway. Give me 5, everyone. I liked it. Don't judge me too severely if I failed somewhere. What do you mean by I failed? We all fail. It's us. Give me 5, Leo. Now that was rock and roll. Yeah, exactly like the old man said. We're gonna burn that damn thing, that's true. My father told me that life is like a wave in the ocean. At first you find yourself high on its crest, and then inevitably break down into the abyss. Only your incredible will helps you rise again. This story is about faith. Faith in a dream, in the team, and God.